Hello there again, people from YouTube. Welcome to Learn MX Spanish. This time we're going to check three specific things. We're going to talk about nouns and their genders in Spanish. We're going to check some specific words to talk about places, and we're going to finish with a very useful verb. Let's start. First of all, and maybe you know this, all nouns in Spanish are always having a gender. It could be masculino or it could be femenino, to refer to each of those genders with a specific pronoun. These ones are going to be called defined pronouns, él and la. Él es masculino, la es femenino. Let's make a pause here. Él is different from él. These two words have the same pronunciation, exactly the same pronunciation, but the meaning is different. We use él when we are referring to a person, like for example, Dwayne Johnson es actor. Él es actor. Brad Pitt es actor. Él es actor. Justin Bieber es cantante. Él es cantante. The other él is also a pronoun, but we use it to talk about objects, like these examples we have here. We have el teléfono, el libro, el vaso, el pie, y el reloj. These specific nouns are masculine, but how do we know when they are masculine? The main rule is that if a noun is ending in a letter O, it's going to be masculine, but as you can see with these two last examples, they are not following the rule. Let's continue with the feminine one. So we use la. We have la fotografía, la pluma, la taza, la llave, y la credencial. Just like with the masculine, there is a rule that says that if a noun is ending in a letter A, it's going to be feminine. But as you can see with these two last examples, not all the nouns are going to follow the rule. So with this kind of nouns, I recommend you to memorize them, or at least you can wait to get used to them. Now, let's see how to make the plurals. Él es singular, es masculino. La es singular, es femenino. This word, los, is the masculino plural, and this word, las, is femenino plural. And if we are going to talk about nouns, we also need to make them plural. So let's check the examples. So we have el teléfono, plural, los teléfonos. El libro, singular, los libros, plural. El vaso, singular, los vasos, plural. El pie, singular, los pies, plural. El reloj, singular, los relojes, plural. And with the feminine ones are going to happen the same. So let's check here. We have again our words in singular. Let's check how they work in plural. So, la fotografía, singular. Las fotografías, plural. La pluma, las plumas, plural. La taza, singular. Las tazas, plural. La llave, singular. Las llaves, plural. La credencial, singular. Las credenciales, plural. So, let's review. These ones are called defined pronouns, pronombres determinados in Spanish, and we use them to talk about specific things. Like for example, I'm talking about el teléfono, this specific one. Or I can say la pluma, this specific pluma. Or las llaves, these specific llaves. And those are the pronouns. But we have two different kinds of pronouns. We have the defined ones, the ones that we check, and we have the undefined ones. Let's see how they work. First, let me introduce you to these two words. Un, masculino singular, una, femenino singular. And let's see some examples. So, we have here the same words, but this time we are going to change the pronoun. Let's use un. So, we have un teléfono, un libro, un vaso, un pie, y un reloj. Then let's check the feminine one. Una. We have una fotografía. Then una pluma, una taza, una llave y una credencial. Now Let's check the plural. So we have un teléfono, plural, unos teléfonos. Un libro, unos libros. Un vaso, unos vasos. Un pie, unos pies. Un reloj, unos relojes. Now, let's check una. We have una fotografía, plural, unas fotografías. Una pluma, unas plumas. Una taza, unas tazas. Una llave, unas llaves. Una credencial, unas credenciales. Now, let's see the difference between the defined ones and the undefined ones. As I said before, we use the defined ones to talk about things that we know, to talk about the specific things, like la pluma, esta pluma, or las llaves, estas llaves. And if I say una pluma, I'm not talking specifically about esta pluma. I'm talking about just a pluma. And if I say keys, I'm talking about some keys, not about these specific keys. If you want to know how to make plurals, check the link on the video where you can find a bit more info about that. Let's continue with this. Let's learn some more words to use what we have learned before. We're going to see something called demonstrative adverbs. These ones are our demonstrative adverbs. The first one we have is aquí. Then we have ahí or allí, and then allá. What is the difference between these three ones? So first, when we use aquí, we say here. It's exactly the same. Aquí, here. Then we have ahí, when you are pointing to something that is close to you. So it's ahí or allí. It's exactly the same as there. And then we have the other one, allá. We use the word allá when we want to talk about things that are further away. So it's aquí, ahí, allá. And most of the times after one of those three words, we use a verb. This is the verb, I. And we use this verb to talk about existencia, to talk about things in a place. Let's check some examples. Let's start with aquí. So we have aquí, and let's talk about México. Aquí en México hay muchos monumentos. Aquí en México hay muchas personas. The negative one. Aquí en México no hay tren. Now, let's use the word ahí. We're gonna use this specific photo. We have ahí hay unas tazas. Ahí hay unas llaves. Ahí no hay una pluma. Now, let's use the word allá to talk about four places. Let's talk about Europa. Allá en Europa hay tren. Now about Inglaterra. Allá en Inglaterra hay muchos castillos. Allá en Japón no hay muchos mexicanos. So, these ones are the three words that we're going to use to talk about specific places. Remember, aquí, ahí, allá. And I'm sure you're having a doubt between two words that we checked here. These two words. So, the pronunciation is different. They look very similar, but the pronunciation is very different. This one is I, and this one is ahí. Notice it. The emphasis for this word is at the end, ahí. And this one is having it at the beginning, I. Ahí, I. Let's check something else to finish this video. So, when we are going to use the word I, we can use it with the undefined pronouns, with un, with una, with unos, or with unas. This way, we can say, hay un vaso. Hay unas llaves. No hay unos vasos. That is the way. We never use hay la, or hay los, or hay el. We say hay un, hay una, hay unos, or hay unas. Remember that. That's the only way. People from YouTube, that was all for today. Remember, if you liked the video, don't forget to give us a like and to subscribe. And remember, if you have something to say, use the commentary box. We will be very happy to see what you have to say. Nos vemos en el siguiente video. Adiós.